Morning guys, not long until it's the weekend, so let's have a look at our learning for today. So again, going to carry on with our reading, and we're looking at retrieval, inference and vocabulary skills again, so just recapping yesterday's lesson. So if you need a little bit more help, have a look at yesterday's reading section part of the video, just going over those three types of questions in a little bit more detail, but it's really a case today of just having another little practice of those three reading skills. So moving on to maths then, I'm going to keep on with the decimals theme, but today we're looking at solving problems involving decimal numbers. So all the skills that we've been learning so far with decimals you will need today. So we just have a quick look at a few different examples of the problems that you might come up against. Let's have the most common decimal problems are obviously involve money, and they all, remember, have two decimal places. Let's have a look at this question then. We've got the book sale, any three books for £14.50, that's the advert. And you've got three books there with their prices on. Now they're the original prices, and it says Lee bought these three books in the sale for £14.50. So he's taken up that offer that you can see there above for £14.50. And the question is, how much money did he save altogether compared to the full price of the books? So let's have a little look at the key information. Obviously that's the price that he's actually paid, that's the sale price. And we need to work out what that full price was and then compare the two amounts together. So with that then, picking out the key information, we've got that's how much he's paid, so we're not going to have to do anything with that to work out the difference between the sale price. That is the sale price, that's already done for us. And then to find what the full price would have been, we have to add those those three book prices together. So £3.99, £5.99 and £6.99. And then we're going to find the difference between the two amounts. Now remember, when we find the difference between two amounts, we're going to be using our subtraction skills there. So let's have a look at how we might add those original prices together. Now you could obviously just use the column method like we've been looking at this week, but I think there's a quicker way, and I'm going to show you how I might do this with a mental strategy. So I've just, at the bottom you can see I've set up my £3.99, add £5.99, add £6.99, and what I've actually done is I've just rounded it up by a penny, because that's what we often get in shops, 99 pence. I've just rounded it up, and so I'm actually going to do 4 add 6 add 7. Now in my head that's really easy, and the answer is 17. Now what we need to think about is how many pennies that I've actually added on. Well, if you work out, there was three amounts, there was 3 pennies on each amount, then I've added 3 pence on. So just remembering that, I'm going to have to take off the 3 pence from my £17, and I'm going to be left with £16.97. So that would be the cost of my 3 books. And once we've done that, obviously we need to find the difference between £16.97 and the sale price of £14.50. So nice and simple, just set up your column method and make sure the decimal places are lined up, and then nice and simple with this one, there isn't any exchanging to do, it's just a simple answer at the end. So your answer, the difference, how much money did he save, which is what we're actually wanting to find out, you actually save £2.47. So another type of question that you might come across with decimals is to order them, and I think we did this a couple of weeks back now. So let's try and order these four numbers here. Now, I think I said when we did this last time that I like to order them put them in a vertical column first, and that helps us to look at the digits much more easily. So if we bring up where I'm actually going to put them when I start my order. Remember, we're going from smallest to largest. So looking on my column, on this green column at the side, I can see that my units are all the same. They all start with a 2. So there's nothing that can help us in that column to do any ordering at this point. So we're going to have to go into the tenths column. That's the first place after the decimal point, and I can see that I've got a 0, a 3, a 1 and another 1. So in terms of my smallest number, it's got to be that 0 in our tenths column. So it's our first number to put in would be that top one, 2.036, and again, make sure you cross them out so you know which ones you've done and which ones you haven't. So now out of the 3 that we've got to do, we've got 2.368, 2.189 and 2.187. So again, we're still in that tenths column, and the 2.368 can be left for now, and so that leaves us with 2.189 and 2.187. So again, if we've got the columns in the tenths that match, and they do, it's a 1, we need to move to the next column, which will be the hundredths. And if you look at those two numbers again, they match as well. We've both got an 8 as the hundredths. So then we're looking for the next smallest in the thousandths column. Now you can see you got 2.187, that's got 7 thousandths, and then the one above it, 2.189, has got 9 thousandths. So the 2.187 is slightly smaller, so cross that one out. And now because they were so close together, we can quickly put that one in, the 2.189, cross that one out, and then finally 2.368 is your largest number there. Make sure you cross that one out too, just to make sure you've done them all. Okay, so again, put them in vertical order, check each column carefully, and remember you're moving to the right to decide which is the largest number. And keep going with those times table rot styles, guys. Little and often again is the way forward. Okay, and moving on to our English for today, you're going to have a go and start to write your diary entry either in role as Justice Strauss or Count Olaf. So I just wanted to pick up on the cohesive device again, just to make sure that we understand how we can make our writing flow. And just to recap, if you are writing as Justice Strauss, then this is the type of person that you're trying to convey to the reader when you write your diary entries. So let's have a look at my example again. I'm just going to show you, I've brought this into two parts, so we're going to look at some time conjunctions and how and what time conjunctions I've actually used. And they could just be time conjunctions, or they could be phrases as well. So the same example as I showed you the previous day. So we've got up bright and early this morning, could be a time conjunction. Later in the day, there's another one. Instead of sending them back straight away, before long, and before heading back to that rat-infested house. Now all of these give a sense of time and order, and that's really helpful, particularly in a diary entry, because we're recounting, aren't we, the day that person's had. So it's really important that we get some time conjunctions in there so that the reader understands in what order those events took place. Okay, so let's have a look at some punctuation now which emphasise a point. So again, this allows the writing to flow, and this really links sentences and clauses together. So a couple of examples. I went to check up on those poor little orphans and I couldn't resist the urge to help them. So I'm going to emphasise the point now. So why she's helping them, and I've added a semicolon. Losing their parents in that way must have been so terrible for them. So I'm just emphasising that point of the need or the urge she had to help them. Let's look at a different example, and you've got a dash up there. Almost unbelievably, they told me that awful man was making them cook a whole dinner for an entire troop. And again, I'm going to emphasise a point. I nearly fell over with shock. So again, she's so shocked at that, the idea of that, it just clarifies her emotions towards it. So again, thinking of ways to engage the reader and just try and make the writing flow and make it as clear as possible for the reader. So your task today then, guys, remember, is to write in role as Justice Strauss or potentially as Count Olaf. Now, if you're writing as Count Olaf, you want to get the point across that he's not a particularly nice character. So the language you choose in there is going to be different to the language I've chosen for Justice Strauss.